Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Seahawk Talk here on the Salve Athletics Network. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. We are live every day, 3 to 4 p.m., so tune in on all of those platforms, like and subscribe so you never miss a show. We've got a great one lined up for you here today. We'll be joined by Rob McGuinness, Kelly Burke, alumnus of our field hockey team, and along with head coach Jane Walsh of our women's soccer team. Can't wait to speak to them and our producers, but first, like always, we want to remind you to keep your distance. That is Ed Habershaw with The Shake, Rhode Island-based band, and their song Keep Your Distance, a very appropriate song for a very appropriate time. Social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing, all of those things we need to do. We're going to constantly remind you to do those here on the program. And Salve has been doing a good job of it, so we want to keep it up. So we thank you all for that. Let's now turn to our producers, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Fellas, how are we doing here on Wednesday?
Doing good. One day closer to Friday.
I wanted to start with something. It's not necessarily Salve related, but Mike, you're a baseball player. You might have some insights to offer me about this. Was watching the World Series last night, Game 6. The Dodgers won, so there will be no Game 7 tonight, which many of us were looking forward to. We've had a lot of great Game 7s in the last couple weeks and months throughout sports. And much of the reason for that can be tied directly to a decision that the Tampa Bay Rays manager, Kevin Cash, made. Now, the Rays are they're a moneyball team, small market, low payroll, so they build their team a certain way. They follow the analytics. Kind of too far, though. They really let the data decide for them what's going to happen, and they, more than any other team, have employed the opener, so to speak. So you have a guy that you start a game with, and then you go to a bullpen, and then you have a closer, but your closer could come in the fifth inning, whatever that you deem is the important out. So very non-traditional gameplay. Well, last night, their starting pitcher, Cy Young winning pitcher, Blake Snell, is absolutely rolling through the game. It's the sixth inning. And granted, the top of the order is coming up again, and the new thing now is to not let guys face people 3 times. But he had been mowing down the best players on the Dodgers lineup. He gives up 1 hit in that 6th inning, and they pull him with only 70 pitches on the night, and a lot left in the tank. And immediately what happened? Everybody criticized the decision and what happened. The bullpen comes in, and the Dodgers have new life. And after being down 1-0, they score 3 unanswered runs, and they win the World Series. People have called it overmanaging. I think it's undermanaging. You're letting the information do the job for you, and I just feel really bad for players in that situation when it wasn't because you were performing poorly, or it wasn't like, hey, listen, you've been great, but you've thrown 100 pitches, you just walked 3 guys. It's time to pull you. Really, really unfortunate, I'd say, for the Rays. I think probably good for baseball that the Rays ended up paying for that decision. But it's maddening. You want to see players play. Use your eyes. Use your heart. And I'd say that's kind of probably seeing something like that happen is probably what turns people off to baseball. Don't let the information make decisions for you. Let it help you make decisions, but don't let it make the decisions for you. So now with that off my chest, I'll let you guys discuss that debacle.
I think that's exactly right. No, because it's a human game. You know, at the end of the day, the manager, his job there is to help you take into account the analytics and also take into account the feeling of the game at that current moment. And if you're just going to go straight with what the book tells you to do, then you might as well not have that manager there. You might as well, like we were saying in pre-show, just have the computer make the decisions. And what's the point? And if in a situation like that, and I've been in many of the same, and our manager for playing the Sunset League wanted to pull our starter, who was at like 90 pitches, going to the last inning. We're like, no, immediately. Everyone goes no, because he's doing so well. He's so effective, and just giving that different look is can completely give a team just like you said, give them a new burst of life, because now they're like, oh, this guy's been getting us out the last 2 or 3 times to the order. Now we got a new look. It's a fresh look. Even if it's a really good player coming out of the bullpen, it's still something new to look at, as opposed to the guy who's been giving you fits for the last 2 or 3 times. So completely agree with everything you said there. It's a human game, and the manager's job is to, when the situation like that occurs, to make sure that you're not just going straight with what the numbers tell you to do.
Joey, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say something like, yeah, you can't just look at the numbers. Like, the numbers will always tell you something different than what you actually see. Like, it's kind of crazy, and it reminds me. I was just thinking of, it probably wasn't a similar thing where they did it off statistics. I think maybe it was just a bad play, but was it the Falcons who played against the Patriots in a Super Bowl recently and lost at the end? It was somebody against the Patriots.
They did, but the Seahawks did as well. Pete Carroll could have run the ball with Marshawn Lynch on the 1 yard line.
Yes, it was that, and they chose to. What did they do? They threw it, right?
And it got picked off.
yeah. It's like that. It's like, why would you make a decision like that? Like, was there some sort of I don't know the point behind that decision, but it reminds me of that, where they just kind of threw it away. Like, Tampa had it kind of in the bag.
Yeah. No, it's one of those mind-boggling, just when you think you've seen everything. We thought we had seen everything a couple of games before with the crazy ending with multiple errors and guys tripping. We didn't think anything would surpass that. Well, here we go. We have a manager taking a guy, an elite pitcher, out of a ball game when he's throwing fire. Yeah, Joey, you're right. I mean, it makes you think of those gaffes, overthinking. In this case, it's a little of maybe underthinking because of the reliance on the computer, but those situations where you're on the 1 yard line, run the ball with Marshawn. If Marshawn Lynch can't get in from the 1 yard line, then so what? So be it. You go down doing your best thing.
They also had more downs, I think.
Play.
They weren't on 4th down. It's the same thing. Why? Don't
do it again. It makes me think like an analogy of this though, with the taking the guy out. There's bad play calls, they happen, but taking a guy out, it'd be like taking LeBron James out of the final 5 minutes of a finals game. Because it's LeBron, we try to, you're a little older now, we try to manage your minutes. I know you're having a great night, but we want to save you for game 7. What? This is win or go home. There isn't a game 7 now for them. So it's just baffling. And in my estimation, fireable offense. That's what I say.
Yeah,
what do you need the manager for? If the computer's going to do it all, let that manager go, because now his decision making is going to be tainted. I think it's such a bad decision that it's one of those things that kind of haunts you, as it did the Seahawks, as it did the Falcons.
Managers have been let go for less.
Yeah. And guess what? Alex Cora is now available to coach. His 1 year suspension is over. So Tampa Bay, go out and get Alex Cora. Keep him in the AL East.
It seems like it's the only piece they're missing. The Moneyball method's perfect for the front office. They put together the perfect team. It's just that decision right there, and that moment. That's the human element where he failed. But Alex Cora could succeed, because Alex Cora is a great in-game coach. So
yeah. I agree. Well, fellas, did you have, aside from my ranting, any other things you wanted to maybe potentially lead off the show with?
Yeah,
I know it's been a slow news day. Joey might have something.
Yeah, I have a bunch of, there wasn't much news, so I have a bunch of reminders. I'll just shoot through them. So we got, if you're a Salve student and you haven't already, go on My Housing and tell Salve what you're doing for Thanksgiving, because you got to do it before Friday. I don't know what the punishment is for not doing it, but don't find out. It takes 10 seconds. Literally. Number 2, vote. That's all I have to say. Vote. Number 3, Newport Film. They got the documentary today, All In, Fight for Democracy. Watch it. It's going to be really good. Number 4, again, vote. Five, whatever I'm on. It's Multicultural Education Week. Today, they're having a guest speaker, Peyton Head. He's going to be talking about leadership and intersectionality, specifically being Black and LGBT in America. I think it's going to be really cool. And then for Friday, be on the lookout, specifically Rhode Island, we're going to be getting possibly new restrictions for coronavirus because certain people are ruining it for everyone and not wearing their masks. And there was a press briefing today, and they're kind of threatening that we're going to have to go back to phase 2 if people don't get their act together. So Friday, special announcements of what is going to be happening. So be on the lookout for that and wear your mask and, do all the right things. Be safe.
I couldn't say anything much better than all that, Joey. So
Yeah,
That's good.
I think that about says it. We're gonna let you guys get behind the scenes, helping to produce the show. We're gonna get moving along to our first guest. We'll talk to you guys later.
Alrighty.
All right, that's Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. We're going to move now to the first guest here today on Wednesdays. Like always, we're joined by head coach Rob McGuinness of our men's and women's cross country teams. Rob, how are you doing?
All right, Andrew. How are you?
Good. I guess give us the update. I think you guys, did you have one this past weekend, or is it coming up this weekend, another one of your time trials?
We've got one coming up this weekend. Our second of 3 will be on Saturday, and looking forward to it. It's always good to get a benchmark and see where we stand in terms of performance. We're going to run this one from campus. Hopefully the announcements on Friday don't cause us to have to rearrange our plans, but we'll be nimble and flexible. And for us, we're going to use to be a mansion run course and extend it because we need a 6K, and that race was only a 5K. But that's what's on tap for this week. Looking forward to it. Halloween practice with this team is always entertaining. They tend to be pretty festive and give a lot of pre-CCC meet pep talks to athletes in Halloween costumes in years past. So I won't be giving the pep talk this year, but hopefully the costumes will still make an appearance.
Will you be in costume as well?
I do have a face mask that is appropriately festive, and if the other accessory shows up in my Amazon order, I will wear something to practice on Saturday. So we'll be sure to document that. Jen's going to come up and take some pictures for us, some time trial and the pre-practice festivities. So we'll have those to share with you next week.
When in doubt, a good spur of the moment impromptu Halloween costume. My uncle once did this, so I've been told, is he just took a carved pumpkin and put it on his head. So I'm not sure how it would be running in that.
That would be a challenge.
but you could always get the impromptu, just take the jack-o'-lantern and just slide it right on over. So
that's an option. I'll be sure to leave that for my team if they're wondering about 11-minute. We recommend that if they were planning to wear a bulky costume, that they change before we go out on the roads, so that we don't have anybody getting slowed down by their choice of festive garments.
Rob, we've spoken before about different kinds of running on country, running on roads, running on a track, running in circles, running on a treadmill. That's why this story really impresses me that you sent, and I want to share it first with our listening audience, about a nun who ran a marathon on a treadmill in the basement of a convent to raise money for the poor. First, amazing story, just from principle of doing that, awareness. This is like peak 2020. We're running marathons on treadmills in basements. But I think impressive. 26.2 miles on a treadmill. I know I lose my mind just running for 5 minutes or trying to run a mile. Like, I could run a mile on a road and it doesn't even seem like it. A mile on a treadmill, it's just like this weird space-time thing. I just can't do it. What's the have you ever run a marathon on a treadmill? I feel like I'd go crazy.
I have not run a full marathon on a treadmill. My longest long run on a treadmill is 22 miles. And that was a little over 3 hours, but I'll tell you, sister Stephanie, she's awesome. 3.5 hours, 3:33 for her marathon, which is a very respectable performance. And if you read up on her, she was a pretty capable runner earlier in her career. She ran Division I and had a good high school and college career. But that's that's just tough. You're right. Time slows down. It goes differently when you're on the treadmill and watching the clock just ticking away. And you see the AP video over here, just grinding away at it in the basement. She's got a surprise visit there from Dina Castor, which is very, very cool. And she raised something like $150,000, which is so impressive. Just a great story all the way around.
Yeah, I can't even begin. I mean, my feet would start. I mean, the impact too. I mean, you're just hitting essentially plastic over and over and over again. So that's probably harder than just out running normally, right?
Yeah, there's not a lot of give on some of those treadmill decks, and 3.5 hours of pounding, that definitely takes its toll. I can tell you, after going 2.5 hours plus, sometimes I get that sea legs feeling when I set foot back on the ground, like things don't quite work as they are intended.
Yeah. Now, this brings me to my next question. We've seen a lot of this year, some races being canceled, other races going to the virtual race. And I was going to run the Blessing of the Fleet this year here in Narragansett. They decided to go virtual. I ended up not doing that. I didn't want to pay to run a virtual race. I wanted to run with people. I wanted, as I'm crossing the finish line an hour and a half after the winner, I wanted people cheering for me. I wanted to go to the festival itself afterwards. That wasn't going to happen. The virtual race thing, though, it makes me think, how's the fairness judged of that? Because you could say, oh, it's a 10-mile race. Well, if I run 10 miles flat around Narragansett versus a guy who maybe has to go run 10 miles up a hill and down a hill and around and on varied terrain, or a guy who just say goes and runs 10 miles on a track, how is that judged? What is the process by which these things are officiated, the virtual races, if at all?
It's a challenge, and you've got to applaud the race organizers for coming up with these virtual things and trying to keep their runners engaged and trying to keep some of those entry fees coming in. I would imagine the point that you raised is a pretty serious one. There's really no way to create a fair comparison. We're seeing that even in the time trial results with the association and the other schools around the region, because as we report results, we're asked to declare whether it was run on fields, on trails, on roads, or on the track. And the results reflect whatever information we report. But you're right, it's not an apples to apples comparison. And it would be very difficult to come up with some sort of a formula to give everybody a level playing field. We could go and measure out a course that is net downhill, and of course that would run faster than something that was over hilly terrain. I think for the most part, runners are more interested in just completing the distance and training toward whatever that goal race was, and the specifics of the layout or the terrain may not necessarily be as important in times like these. But you're right; it's hard to make a fair matchup.
Yeah. Lastly, Rob, I feel like we should maybe start a new segment called #RobReviews. You reviewed all of the different masks for us at the beginning of this season of Seahawk Talk. Well, I want to ask you impromptu if you could potentially give me a review, because I went for a run yesterday, and my shoes have needed a boost. So I don't have the funds to purchase new shoes yet. That's in the works. But my girlfriend had purchased these for me a little while ago, and I had forgotten about them until today when I was thinking about it. But I have these nice new insoles, which I got to cut up. The Dunlop gel insole. I want to know if you've ever used this product, and if you can tell me whether or not this will help my aching feet if I go running again.
It very well could, Andrew. I haven't used the Dunlop product specifically, but I do have, actually, in my current pair of trainers, I've got some Dr. Scholl's gel inserts that are intended for heel pain, because I managed to give myself a wonderful case of bursitis in my heel after the ultra festivities over the summer. And because I'm stubborn and don't take time off, I have not managed to improve that condition all that much. So I've got some gel insoles in there right now. My guess is that if you're feeling soreness because the shoes are showing some wear and tear, then those insoles will definitely offer some relief. I'll be interested to know how they feel when you go out and run, because I can attest to the ones that are in right now. They do help. So I hope that you find the same.
Yeah, we'll find out. Definitely not going to get out today, seeing as it is still pouring here, and is likely to pour for the next 2 days. So, and the trail that I run will definitely be muddy. So, we'll find out. I'll probably have gotten at least 2 more runs in by the time we check in next Wednesday. So I can give my Pez review of the Dunlop insoles next week. So I can let you know, I guess, how these go.
Please do. Well, I'm looking forward to your report.
All right, Rob, thanks so much for joining us here today. I love you keep finding these great running stories. You had a whole bunch of other ones too that we couldn't get to, but keep bringing these interesting running stories. Did you see yesterday Matt Hurd gave us the guy who set a world record for running in blue jeans?
Yes.
Blue jean racing. Like, where? I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised anymore that these things are that happen or exist. I guess I should find the obscure record. I could get myself into Guinness, world record for 5 miles in a Snuggie or something, right?
That category is all yours.
Yes. All right, Rob, thanks so much for joining us, and can't wait to talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, that's Rob McGuinness, the head coach of our men's and women's cross country team. We're going to take a short break and be back with Kelly Burke, an alumnus and Seahawk field hockey player. We will be right back.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You gotta take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're trying to get Kelly Burke onto the program, but in the meantime, we're going to go to the head coach of our women's soccer team, Jane Walsh. Welcome to the show. How you doing here on a Wednesday, Jane? Up.
Hey, Andrew.
There we go. We got you
I'm
on.
here.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Go ahead and give us the update. Where's your team at? What phase are you guys in? Practice, all that stuff. How are things with the team?
So we are in phase 3 in our final week of practice. So things are going very well. We're doing the most that we've ever done all season long now. So the team is super excited, which basically means now we're really getting into the 11v11 game, and they're just so excited. I'm pretty sure I mentioned last week that we when we started to do the bigger game, like the 8v8 and the 9v9, they were like, little puppies out there, running around like it's the first time I ever played with a new toy or something like that. And it's still the same. So the energy that they bring to practice and in particular, the game-like situations is just awesome. So we're just looking to finish out the season here, the week, on a high note. And so we have a lot of fun events coming up for our final few practices that we're looking forward to.
Before we talk about those final events, how helpful do you think it is mentally for the team to be playing, practicing, like really doing something that's normal? It has to be tremendously helpful for them mentally, because this has been such a mentally wearing year.
Yeah, I think it provides them some sense of normalcy. They choose to be student athletes. They choose to participate in Division III athletics because they love the sport and they're very passionate about it. And so when you take that away, for a lot of them, that's their outlet, that's their stress relief. That's the one thing they look forward to every single day. So when you take the competitive nature out of it and you change their entire worlds, which is pretty much what's happened in the last 6 to 8 months here, it can become very challenging. So to finally be at a place where they can just get out there and play and do what feels natural, I think it brings just a sense of lightness. And they are playing like they look like they're enjoying themselves, and it just is very refreshing to see them get out there and have so much fun.
Now, talk about the things you do have coming up. I think you guys are going to have a senior day of sorts this coming weekend, correct?
Yes. So on Saturday, like you said, it's a senior day of sorts. But we're still looking forward to it. Unfortunately, we can't have parents or outside spectators come and attend. But it will be a team only organized event, and I think everybody's looking forward to it. The seniors maybe are a bit skeptical, but I think they're underestimating what their team wants to do for them and what we can do for them. And it's really just to say thank you for sticking it out with us, for the last 6 weeks when you didn't have to. And for you, there's really no guarantee of a future with the competitive future with the program. We're staying hopeful that the spring will provide us with more opportunities for that. But we're just not sure at this point, and we won't know for a little while. So this is our opportunity to say thank you to them and to celebrate them, and just show them how much they mean to us, as a team. So we're going to get out there in our uniforms. We're going to have a blue versus white scrimmage. It'll be live streamed so that spectators can watch, and parents and whatnot, and just the whole shebang. We're going to try to make it as close to a game-like, game day-like situation as possible.
Now, Coach Iaquinto did play-by-play for their scrimmage and live stream this past. Are you going to be hopping on the mic, laying down some play-by-play track for your team?
I'm not sure. I hadn't really thought about that, to be honest with you. So I guess there's the potential of somebody jumping on the mic. We have a few players that might not be able to participate on Saturday due to injury or various things. So maybe we'll get them involved with it. But I'm more of a behind the scenes type of coach.
Okay. What other off the field activities has your team been doing? I think you guys, I saw some really cool pictures this weekend on your Instagram account. You guys were working at Fort Adams.
Yeah. So that was a very unique opportunity for us. We wanted to just get involved some way, shape, or form with some community service. Obviously, at Salve, that's something that is, at the center of what we do here. So it was very important for us to, find some time to give back, especially as a team, and just to do something a little bit different other than just, practice. Team bonding right now is really challenging because we can't do the things that we traditionally would do. In the past, we do a lot of pasta dinners and things like that. And so because we're not really able to do that now, this opportunity for community service great way for us to kind of come together in a different way, as a team. And so we just headed over to Fort Adams and helped them do their fall clean out. They had a ton of projects that they needed, help with. And so, it was all hands on deck. And I think, at first they were a bit outside of their comfort zone, but very quickly they adjusted and just jumped right in and were so enthusiastic about, helping out and putting on the hard hats and the gloves and, just doing whatever they could to help. And, the staff at Fort Adams was very appreciative of it. And it was great working with them. So I definitely, look forward to potentially working with them in the future.
Yeah, cool. Now, we've spoken to a lot of our coaches. Halloween is this Saturday. Will you guys be having a Halloween practice, whether it's Saturday or Friday, and will there be costumes involved?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. So because we're doing our senior day on Saturday, we actually are moving our Halloween practice to Friday. And we're going to do a Soccer Olympics Halloween themed practice. So the teams all kind of split up into different groups. They're going to have different themes for their group, and they're going to dress up according to that theme. So that'll just be really fun. We do a Halloween practice every year, and it's just lighthearted and a good time. And it's so funny getting the team out there and watching them, come and try to practice and play in the uniform or the costumes that they come up with. So they're a creative group, and it's just so cool seeing them, from a different perspective, not just soccer players, but young women who just like to enjoy each other and enjoy themselves.
Now, you don't have to spill the beans. You don't have to give away any secrets, but will Coach Walsh be in costume as well?
Absolutely, Andrew. Absolutely. Of course, I'm going to join in the fun. I'm not going to miss out on that. So yes, every year I come up with a costume, and Coach Morgan and Coach Courtney will also be in full costume attire as well. We've got a little secret planned. So get ready.
A coach's theme.
A coach's theme. Absolutely.
Now you could take this with you could go as far back as you want. You could go to when I was 3 years old. I got dressed up as a jelly bean. Whatever it could be. What is the best Halloween costume you've ever had?
So it's not as creative, I think, as some people, but my favorite Halloween costume was actually when I was in college, and I was Where's Waldo. Which is a kind of a well-used costume, but I just had so much fun. I recall, wearing that, and actually I wore that to one of my college Halloween practices as well. So it was just really fun. I remember jumping in the back of everybody's picture and trying to kind of hide but be obvious, and I just had a really good time with it. So I've definitely busted out that costume a couple times since then. So that has to be my favorite.
That fits with the Keen colors too. You get the red and the white.
True. That's
right?
true. Yeah.
You could have snuck out onto the field maybe as Where's Waldo. Keeper. That could be a keeper jersey, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's Waldo?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you'd even, we've spoken about this on the show before, not with you, but just in general. The Where's Waldo is one of my favorite costumes. I used that in college. I went to Salem, Mass on Halloween night as Where's Waldo. It was great for like the first hour because everybody's saying like, "Oh, I found you," and I can like be like, "Shh," pretend to hide, photobomb every single. I mean, there's thousands of people, thousands of opportunities for photobombing.
Right.
I actually wound up being tagged in like friends of friends photos. So random people who I was photobombing, I actually like got the pictures of because the world today and Facebook, how everybody's connected, it actually got back to me. After about like the second or third or fourth hour, anywhere I went, people going, "Hey, I found you." I was like, "Yeah, I get it. Yes, I'm Waldo."
You found me. You found me.
Yes, good for you. But I do love the Where's Waldo costume. So
yeah, well, great minds think alike, Andrew.
Last question here, still on the Halloween theme.
Sure.
Favorite. I asked this of Bill Villarreal yesterday. He had a lot of fun with this. Favorite Halloween candy. So you open up the Halloween bag, you're shaking around, you've got 5 things in there. What are the top 5 things that Coach Walsh wants to find
top
in the Halloween
5.
bag?
Ooh,
Yeah.
top 5. Okay, so I've said this before when we had the great ice cream debate with Coach O'Rourke a few weeks ago. But dark chocolate is my number one go-to. So anything with dark chocolate, like sometimes Snickers does like their little midnight, or maybe it's Milky Way. I can't remember. They do their midnight candy, and so I love anything with dark chocolate. So that'll be number 1 for me. Number 2, obviously Reese's. By far, chocolate and peanut butter. I mean, that's the best combination. And if you don't like it, then I don't know what you're doing with your life, but you got to get on the boat here, okay? Because you're missing out. Number 3 is probably Starbursts. I like to add a little bit of fruit in there. And then after that, I think 4 and 5 would be anything kind of sour, like on the sour route. So I guess that would be, I don't know if they do Sour Patch Kids. Yeah, they do little mini packs.
Sour Skittles.
And sour Skittles, or they call it sweet tarts. Is it this? They're not that sweet, actually. They're actually a little bit sour. So that's where I would go.
Awesome. That's a good list.
Yeah,
that's a solid list. And I agree with you. Reese's are in my top 5. Can't argue with the Reese's. Controversially, I guess I love Almond Joy. I didn't know that was like a really controversial thing until I started doing this with people. I'm like, I want Almond Joy, and they feel like Almond Joy, which I guess is good. More for me. People don't want the Almond Joys. They can just give them all to me.
No, I'm 100% with you, actually, now that you say that, because now it makes me think of Mounds as well, which is dark chocolate and coconut. So you got me there.
And you're getting more fruits and vegetables in there as well. You've got the Starburst, you've got the coconut. So we're hitting all of the areas of the food pyramid.
It's a well-balanced diet.
A well-balanced diet of Halloween candy. All right, Coach, thank you so much for joining us here today. Can't wait to see some pictures from this Halloween practice. We'll be able to talk about that next week.
We will send them over to you.
All right. That is Jane Walsh, the head coach of our women's soccer team. We're going to go now to an alumnus of the Salve Regina Seahawks, and that is Kelly Burke. Kelly, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Andrew? Nice to meet you.
Good. Nice to meet you as well. I was to say, it's like, just missed. I came to Salve fall of 2013 into 2014 and did work, and it's like you graduated. So I guess reflect back on your time at Salve, both athletically and obviously being a college student there. What do you remember? What sticks out to you about your experience both playing and being at Salve?
So I would say sports was definitely number 1. My best friend through sports. I don't know if I could meet any student now, I would say play sports in college, because it was literally the best experience of my life. But I played field hockey and lacrosse, both with Coach Foster, who is actually Coach Eldridge at the time. In my senior year, I think she was pregnant with her first little girl. So it's crazy to see how things have changed since then, but college was the best. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, you were a nursing major, correct?
I was, yep.
So what was it? I mean, that's rigorous enough as it is. What was it like balancing that, not with just being a one-sport athlete, but a two-sport athlete on top of being a nursing major?
It was definitely doable. I mean, I think if anything, sports help you stick to a regimen. So nursing school is the same with that. Coach was always flexible if I ever had to miss a class for clinical or wherever it may be, but you can definitely do both, no problem. And I would definitely advise keep pushing through with both. So
did you get into grad school at Salve right afterwards? Did you take any time off, or did you jump right in?
I did. So I think it was like a year gap in between, but then Salve had opened their first nurse practitioner program. And so I jumped right in and did that all through Salve. Yeah.
What about life after Salve? Finally graduated, all done. I imagine, are you working in the nursing field right now? And what is that like?
Yep, I am. I work as a nurse practitioner now at an urgent care in Massachusetts. At the beginning of COVID, we actually switched one of our clinics into a COVID clinic. So I bounced between there and the healthy clinic, we call it now, which is kind of funny. But things have been status quo for a while. We're starting to see things creep up a little bit, but it's all been good. And I love what I do. And it's great. It's good.
Yeah. if you stayed in touch with any teammates, I know we've spoken to a lot of alumni in here, and they all rave about how the family and the relationships they made. What has that been like for you? Anybody in particular that you've stayed in touch with over the years?
I do. I know two of my best friends, Helen, who I know has been on with you, Helen Price now.
Yep.
And then Sophie Tretiak is her last name now too. But I played field hockey with them both, and they're two of my best friends to this day. So I definitely have a lot of close and good connections from Salve that I still keep close with. I actually got married 2 weeks ago now, and Helen was in my wedding, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. Thank you.
What was it like having the pandemic wedding? Was it some people? It goes both ways. Some people wanted the 200-person wedding. They couldn't have it. Other people have always wanted the small wedding. They were like, yes, finally, I get to have my way and only have a small wedding.
That was totally me. I didn't want a big wedding, so for our wedding, COVID worked in our favor, I guess, because it was small, it was intimate, we got out of the way, but it was good. Yeah, it was good.
Awesome. You recently I guess recently, everything's relative with recency,
Yeah.
but you took a trip to Guatemala, which was really cool. Just explain to the listening audience what that was all about.
Yeah, so I did that, it was 2 years ago now, I think, actually, but I went with a medical mission trip, and we went and did surgeries. So cleft lips on Guatemala has a lot of infants who are born with cleft lips, and a lot of times they can't get repaired. So we went with surgeons and a medical team, and we did these repairs. And I worked when the babies come out of surgery, I just held them and fed them bottles, made sure they were good. But it was a great experience, and I definitely, if anyone ever has the opportunity to do something like that, not necessarily medical, but in any capacity, I would highly recommend it. Such a good experience.
Mm-hmm. You wrote in our little pre-show questionnaire that kindness and hard work are very important. Does that apply to everything? You can apply that to athletics. You can apply that to any walk of life. And when did you learn that or realize that?
I don't know when I learned it or realized it, but I just feel that everything I've done in my life, those two things have gotten me really far, and also make you feel really good inside too. So I just say that to everyone all the time. Whenever you can do it, do it.
Awesome. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for coming on and joining with us. And congratulations again on getting married. And thank you so much for all the work you're doing. Anyone who's on the front line, so they speak, we appreciate tremendously. So thank you for your work as well.
You're very welcome. It was nice to meet you, Andrew.
Nice
Take
to meet
care.
you as well. Take
Bye.
it easy. That is Kelly Burke, an alumni from our field hockey and women's lacrosse team here on the Seahawk Talk program. We're going to take a very quick break and be right back with our producers to wrap up today's show. Don't go anywhere.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You got to take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. Going to bring in the producers once again here, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to help us close out today's program. Guys, like always, I want to get any thoughts that you had on our guests here today first. Michael, bit by the mute bug.
Oh, I was just talking about how much I love everyone's candy choices, and it's really interesting to see the diversity in choices. And Almond Joy is controversial, yes, because I don't like coconut in my chocolate personally. But no, seriously though, I do enjoy hearing all that different stuff about the show. And no, it really is just to see like everyone's got their own taste. So you just got to appreciate everyone's own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny though. Reese's is always on that list. Like
Yeah,
everybody. I looked up
that's
the
a
other day.
universal.
I think it was for the show. I looked up like top Halloween candies, and Reese's was number one.
Well, there's some. I mean, there's what do we all need? We need water, we need shelter, and we need Reese's. I mean, those are like tenets of life. So
Yeah, and then like sometimes air.
that's true. I guess oxygen should be included in that as well.
In between your bites of Reese's, oxygen.
Yes, it's like being a swimmer. You come up for a breath of air. While mowing down on the Reese's. Remember to breathe.
Yes.
That's not where I thought you were going. I would be like, Michael Phelps like swimming, he sticks out of the water and he throw a Reese's into his mouth. Power up.
Hey, get carb loading. Get those calories. I mean, talk about a guy who could probably eat a lot of candy. He had like a 20,000 calorie diet with the way they competitive athletes, especially like football players, have to eat constantly. Now, obviously, you don't want to eat garbage, but they eat a lot of food because they're trying to maintain weights and strength that's well beyond what your body normally needs. And if you don't, you're going to lose all that weight and strength. And, that's why NFL players look, superhuman. It's because they literally are. They are way bigger than God intended, which is why you see guys blow pecs and triceps and biceps and muscles that you think, how do you do that? Well, you're trying to do more than your body wants to. That's why.
Exactly.
I was going to say, Mike, do you have any news? And then we'll let Joey give his announcements at the end as well.
We'll let Joey get there. I like Joey's announcement, so I'm going to be quick. And this is a quick news story, but if anyone was interested, you have a chance to win an Audi this weekend. Or this week, they're having an Audi giveaway at the Odd Train Automobile Museum, courtesy of the Newport Buzz. This story, I think. So all you have to do is pretty much buy a raffle ticket for this car event. So either way, it'll be fun, but you also have a chance to win a 2004 Audi. So nothing. Still, it's something. You get something.
It's for a Roadster though.
It's those keywords though. Free or keyword free. So if you're
tax free, we gotta read the fine print here.
A ticket though.
Yeah, you got to buy $25 for a ticket. But if you're interested and you want to go have a chance at it, here you go. This is all the information right here on the Newport Buzz.
I'm happy with my 98 Camry, so
it's okay. It's not for that. Just like Halloween candy, the Audi's not for everybody.
Joey, you had a great list of announcements at the beginning of the show, and I am going to turn it over and let you run through those again here at the end of the show.
All right. So we've got Salve students, go on My Housing and select what you're doing for Thanksgiving. School's got to know. We got a plan for it. 2, vote. Important. If you haven't mailed in your ballot already, do that. Why haven't you done that already? If you can, drop it off at the drop it off at like the actual voting place so that it actually gets counted. Because 3 was, I don't remember the order anymore, but there's guest speaker today. I didn't say where it was. It's in Bazarski, the guest speaker for Multicultural Education Week. There's also a virtual thing. Also, Salve students, you got an email. You probably always ignore it. It's the Salve Today email. It's in there. It's got the information. Friday, we're getting new news on Rhode Island COVID, and I don't remember what the last thing was.
Vote.
Oh, go watch.
Vote again.
Vote. I said vote. Yeah. Oh, it was go watch the documentary that Newport Film has today. All in Fight for Democracy.
And vote.
That's
and
right.
Vote.
Yeah.
Vote is announcements 5 through 10. Vote.
That was my list when I wrote it in the chat. Like it was every other one was just vote. And then like the joke got old after like the third time I did it. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go through the news again.
Nope, we're going to say vote. We're going to have that message. We won't be here on Election Day because everybody should be out voting or helping out. That's going to be a big thing. I know a lot of people, I'm sure places could still use volunteers. We're going to need the poll places are going to need assistance this year because there's going to be a
Yeah.
lot of people, and a lot of the people who normally work are elderly and probably not safe for them to be out.
Yeah.
So I'd say us young folks who usually feel like that's something we don't ever have to worry about should maybe lend a hand this year if you can.
It sucks because I don't have one of my classes on Tuesday, so I only have one class, and I could help, but Rhode Island, you have to be a Rhode Island resident or like whatever. You have to be like a Rhode Island registered voter to help with the polls, which kind of sucks because I'm free all day. Let me help.
Yeah.
I guess I have no excuse then. I got to do it.
Yeah. Same
I'll be
here.
there.
All right,
Me and
fellas,
Andrew will be there.
great work as always. Can't wait to talk to you guys tomorrow, and yeah, inching closer to the weekend.
Yep, that's right. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. That's Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. I want to thank our guests once again today. We had Rob McGuinness, Jane Walsh, and Kelly Burke joining us. We are live every day, 3 to 4 p.m. here on the Salve Athletics Network on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. You can like, follow, and subscribe on all of those platforms to rewatch every episode of the show, get reminders from when we're going live. And if you want as well, you can get Seahawk Talk on the go by subscribing to the Seahawk Talk podcast from Sounder FM or through your favorite podcasting app, wherever you like to get podcasts. Just search for Seahawk Talk, and you can get Seahawk Talk on the go, so you can never miss a show. Well, that'll do it for us here today. Thanks for joining and listening. I am Andrew Pizzelli. Have a good afternoon, everyone.